So, Madam Clerk, review of items not listed on the agenda. There's nothing. No addendums. We'll do some quick announcements. Councillor Rona, anything? Councillor Hyatt.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to say that we had the Township Golf Tournament on Friday. It was a great event. We don't have the final totals yet, but we're guesstimating it's around $20,000, which, as you know, goes to fund charitable events in town and sponsor people to go to various activities. We also had the Jumpstart Games in town, which was a wonderful event. Thank you again to the Jumpstart crew, to the Canadian Tire, Pat Higgins, all that. It was great. I mean, it was 250 kids there, a day of free activities. Everybody had a good time. I went there for the kickoff, but I'm sure it went on all day, and it was a great event, and I'm looking forward to next year's as well. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councillor Beach.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, the golf tournament was great. It was great being there at 6 o'clock in the morning. But it was great seeing all the people come in to support the golf tournament, so it was a great day. And Jumpstart, it was amazing seeing all the groups of kids in their different colored T-shirts doing the activities and laughing and giggling and having a great time. So what a great thing for our youth to have that opportunity to have the experiences like wheelchair basketball or the different activities. Just absolutely fantastic. And the murder mystery at the beginning of August has been canceled at the museum, probably put off till September. So stay tuned to that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bryan.
Thank you very much. I won't mention what's already been mentioned. I just wanted to bring up that this weekend we have the Diamond Duster Ball Tournament is going on at the Bonner Fields.
Wow.
So come out and support that, as well as the Uxbridge Scottish Festival is going on at Elgin Park on Saturday. Thank you.
Regional Councillor Ballinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning to everyone. Just like to say congratulations to the golf people that put on the show. Unfortunately, I got there in the morning and I had to go down to TRCA. I didn't get back, but people that I talked to that were there had a wonderful time. So good for you guys.
Thank you. Councillor Barton.
Thank you very much. Just one somber note. Just thinking of all the people on the dance floor this morning.
Oh.
That was a terrible tragedy. And again, this is seems to be becoming a reality in Toronto, that these types of things happen. And I don't know, my heart goes out to them all.
Thank you. Yeah, that was something we don't expect to happen in our city, that's for sure. And yeah, our hearts all go out to them. Thank you. And I would like to just add on the golf tournament, thank all the sponsors. We had fantastic sponsors this year, and thank everybody that helped. All the council was out there helping out, so that was great. And as you know, the money goes to some pretty great causes. Alrighty, so we'll move on. We do have one item here, and that is there is a petition, and I would ask council what we would like to do with it. Do you want to bring it forward on the agenda and discuss it, or Councillor Barton?
I'll give you a motion to bring it forward on the agenda.
Okay. We could deal with it probably, we could deal with it now if we brought the report forward as well. Debbie, would that be appropriate if we bring the report forward at the same time, or what do you want to do? Council, okay. Could I have a seconder, please, Councillor Bryan? What would you like to do with it? Should we bring the report forward as well and deal with it right now? Moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by? No one wants to bring the report forward? Seconded by Councillor Barton. All those in favor? Carried. Great. So let's deal with that report now, because there's a few people here to deal with it. And it is, what's the number? Report number 5218, CL 5218. Alrighty, Council, what would you like to do with this report? Councillor Ballinger.
Well, I'd just like to hear from Councillor Hyatt. What he has to say. It's his ward, and I know he's been involved with it.
Great. Councillor Hyatt, do you want to comment on this?
This is, if everybody knows where this project is, it's at the east end of town on the Goldman Co. lands. Part of the original scenario for the development of this property is that Harima Boulevard would be realigned to go straight down to the intersection there, so that it would be straight across from Nilkid on the south. Donlands would cease to exist as it does today. It's a problematic piece of roadway, I guess, that was left over from the original subdivision when that went in over 20 years ago. So at the end of the day, this will be a good thing for the residents of that area. It will make the traffic a little better. It will be safer for pedestrians. There will be a signalized intersection at that, where it meets Brock Street. So the intent of this overall is to create a better scenario than exists today. This land exchange is with the present owner of those lands, who is planning to build residential units, as we know, on that property. The intent here is to make that access, again, better usable for all residents, not only in this new subdivision area, but also the folks that live in Barton Farms as well. Thank you.
So we do have a petition here in front of us that we've moved forward as well, and the therefore on that petition is we, the undersigned, request that council table this matter until after the municipal election or until such time where 2 full weeks' notice can be given to the community before council considers this matter. My understanding is that there will be a public process to this anyway, and there will be ample notice given at that time, is my understanding. So to me, it looks like it's redundant because it is going to have a public process. Councillor Barton, do you have a question?
Yeah, my question is actually twofold. One is, when something like this comes on the agenda that has to do with an issue that's already been a public process, where people have made deputations and written letters to ask more information about this project, are they informed that this is going to be on our agenda today?
If they requested to be informed on the process, they were informed. I'll let Debbie answer that question.
Okay. Through your worship. So, to Councillor Barton, in the particular case of this subject matter, no previous notice would be given. The reason being is because it's not the planning process. So when it came to the Evandale reports that were on the agenda, the people that were in made deputations or specifically requested notice, and as part of that public planning process were given notice of that. In this case, there's no previous notice given, but what I have to do now is advertise this for 2 consecutive weeks. So that gives people an opportunity to come in and look at it, and speak to whoever they need to speak with. It also then gives, if somebody doesn't agree with it, they can write or come in and make a deputation at the next council meeting if they choose. This will all be contingent on that application being approved, no appeals, etc. So council has passed the zoning bylaw on Evandale, so there is still the process to give notice. There's the opportunity for appeal of the development itself. In the case that everything is approved, nothing's appealed, then what I also have to do is give notice and have a public meeting to stop up and close Donlands.
Mm-hmm.
So then again, if people want to come in and speak to that, they can. So the actual transfer of the lands won't happen until all that process has happened.
Okay.
It also, it's timely because of our lame duck situation, and that's why it's coming forward today. But nothing is going to happen until such time as we have our stop up and close, like I said, public meeting, notice is given on that. But it won't go directly to the people, it will just be put in the local newspaper, so.
Councillor Ballinger.
So I'll give you a motion to receive this.
This is the petition? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Moved by Councillor Ballinger, seconded by Councillor Bryan. Are there any other questions? All's in favor? Carried. Alrighty. Now we have the report. Let's deal with the report. That's report number CL 5218. What would you like to do with this report, Council? I think we've already had the explanation. Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I'm just going to make one more comment.
On this report?
Well, on this report and just this overall process. So, obviously, all the people that signed this petition feel like they weren't informed on this issue. I've looked at the maps, I've gone to the property, and I think this is the right thing. Obviously, the Harima goes straight through. It's been on zoning appeal, it's been on agendas in the past with the maps. It's the right thing to do. But again, we've now got a number of residents that feel like they weren't given adequate information. I just think in the future, with the process, we need to make sure that when anything is on the agenda, talking about a certain development, that same email goes out, or whatever type of notice directly to those people, because many people don't read the papers.
I think, though, to be fair, this petition's really jumped the gun in the process. The process would involve everybody in the future. This has just jumped the gun because people weren't aware of the process. There's lots of process left on this.
Yeah.
So to suggest that we're, that they weren't in the loop, they will be in the loop. They just jumped the gun a little bit, in my opinion. So, all right, so we have a report. Go ahead. Debbie, you want to say something?
I guess just one additional thing to add, at the public planning meetings, Councillor Hyatt does read a blurb related to giving notice, and the fact that we do rely on the councillors and the people to inform themselves. Because once we step outside the boundaries of what the Act dictates that we do related to planning matters, and this isn't a planning matter, if in the event that we forget or someone gets missed or whatever the case may be, then we're basically exposing ourselves to going outside of the actual requirements, and we just don't have the staffing to do it. And that's why there is notice going to be given, but it just, once council declares it surplus to our needs, it doesn't mean that the transfer happens automatically. So people still have an opportunity to pursue it.
Yeah. No, and
Great.
this is just about the appearance. That's all. That's what I'm talking about. People,
Okay.
these 29 people feel that they weren't heard, or that we didn't share this information with them. That's all.
Okay, so we have report number CL 5218. What would you like to do with that report? Councillor Hyatt.
Yeah, just a comment on this. I have not received a copy of this so-called petition until this morning, so I have not heard from any of these residents. If they were concerned about this project, I certainly have not heard from them as the ward councillor, so I just want to make that known. As I said, this has been in the works for many, many years. This is just a process whereby we can create a straight Harima Boulevard. It is, again, not a full planning process, as the clerk has explained, so I think everybody on council needs to understand that. Again, as this moves forward, people will have an opportunity to comment. Could you turn off your thing there, whatever it is? So, again, this will be coming forward again as this proceeds.
Great. So what would you like to do with this report, council? Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Hyatt. Seconder? Councillor Ballinger. Any other questions? All those in favor? Sorry. Go ahead.
Through your worship, just a couple of things, if you wouldn't mind considering, as part of the recommendation, is that, we also add in there the provision that the requirements of Hydro One be satisfied prior to any transfer occurring, and also any drainage, requirements that need to happen along the roadway, if you're okay with adding those.
Can we consider that a friendly amendment?
I'll make that amendment. I think
Great.
it's with Viridian, Debbie, not...
Or, sorry, Viridian, I
It's
apologize.
not Hydro
Yep,
One.
yep.
Great. Okay. Is Hydro one? Okay. Great. All those in favor? All those in favor? Carried. Alrighty, thank you. Back to the beginning. Resolutions. We have a resolution. I'm sure you can turn that off, Gary, can't you? Just drag it down from the top and... All right. Okay, this is the resolution we have before us. Moved by Councillor Gary Ronan, second by Councillor Gordon Hyatt, whereas the Council of the Corporation Township of Uxbridge deems it desirable to declare surplus and convey real property municipally described as 291 Brock Street West, Township of Uxbridge, Region of Durham. A legal description of the lands will be provided upon registration of the R plant. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Uxbridge hereby declares the following: that the property municipally described as 291 Brock Street West, Township of Uxbridge, Regional Municipality of Durham, surplus to the needs of the municipality, and that public notice be placed in the local newspaper once a week for 2 consecutive weeks, advising that the lands are being declared surplus, intentions to convey the said land. All those in favor? Carried.
Mr. Chair, could we bring forward report CL 5118 at this time, because it pertains to the same information?
It pertains to, okay. Councillor Hyatt's made a motion to bring forward report CL 5118 of Debbie LaRue regarding the proposed sale of the Arena Ball Diamond. Moved by Councillor Hyatt to bring it forward. Can I have somebody second that? Councillor Ballinger. All's in favor? Carried. This is a really, really good news piece. One thing Can I help you? What do you need? Okay, I'll speak to it, okay. This is a really, really good, thing for us. What we've done is we had some concerns about the ball diamond at the arena. We know that we're gonna build a new ball diamond in the Fields of Uxbridge at some point in time, hopefully very soon. And so what we've done is we've worked with the school board, and I give Ingrid credit, she did an awful lot of work on this, and we've now made a deal with the school board that they will be purchasing the ball diamond from the township. We will continue to maintain the ball diamond, and we will continue to use the ball diamond until such time as we don't need it anymore, and probably that may be many, many years. But the good news is that the school board is purchasing the property that will give us the funds we need to build a real state-of-the-art ball diamond at the Fields of Uxbridge, and it means that we will continue to use the arena ball diamond in conjunction with the school board. So it's really great news. It's great work by Ingrid, and we thank her for that. And it's great to see the school board work so well with the municipalities. That's kind of nice, because we don't get that very often, so. Councillor Hyatt.
Yeah, just to build on that, I think this is great news. The reason being that some of the residents like myself that use that ball
Yeah.
diamond recreationally, maybe not in organized ball, but I think there was a fear there that this property, as it spoke to in the Parks Master Plan, was going to be sold off. People like to make up things that it could be residential or whatever. I'm glad this is now staying in public ownership. It will, again, be a passive park for those who wish to use it. And we can use it too for our ball leagues, which is fantastic, so.
It's great news.
Story.
Councillor Ballinger.
Yeah, before I leave, I wanna make sure that this happens. So I'd like to give you a motion that, so it's in on the record that these lands, town has the use of them until we actually get a new ball diamond up at St. John's School, now the Fields of Uxbridge. I'd like a motion on record. This doesn't happen. No problem with you going to the, Board of Education of the school, but I wanna make darn sure that diamond is kept open until.
That's fine. We have a motion by Councillor Ballinger. Would you like to add it to this, Councillor Ballinger? Or do you want a separate motion? Do you wanna add it to the current report?
No, I can add it to.
We can add it to the report.
Whatever easier for the clerk.
Yeah.
I just want it down on the minutes.
Okay. Are you clear with that, Debbie, what he's asked for? Okay, there's a motion by, and seconded by Councillor Hyatt. All those, I'm gonna let, can we hang on? I'll just let Councillor Barton speak before we vote on the entire, report.
Yeah, and, I just wanted to say, I went around last night, spoke to the residents on Willis, and I spoke to some people on Brock, and explained the situation, just so they didn't hear that we just sold their diamond, and they knew the whole situation. And everyone I spoke to was very positive about this. They see this as what it really is, which is, it's a win for us, we get revenue. It's a win for the school board, they can plan for the future, and it's a win for the residents, it remains in public hands, and
Yeah.
and it will remain a field until we don't need it anymore.
Everybody wins. It's a
Yep.
great deal.
So
And-
it was, and again, kudos to
Ingrid.
Ingrid, who did a ton of work on this.
Absolutely. Alrighty, great. We have a motion with a friendly amendment. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Sorry, we'll go back to, our report, PWO 5718 of Ben Kester. This is, regarding the tender for the Brock Street culvert. Council, what would you like to do with this report? Coming forward, Ben? Councillor Beach, you have a question?
Yes, Ben, the company that you're awarding this contract to, they've done this type of work before,
Yes.
to this
So
extent?
we pre-qualified the five, the
Okay.
five people that could bid it. We made them submit all the documentation a few months ago before they were allowed
Okay.
to bid it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that, thank you.
Other questions, comments? Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I'm wondering about the order, because right now we're about to approve awarding a contract, but we haven't actually, and then we'll discuss the financing after. I think this is in the reverse of how we should do it. Because basically, right now, we're saying, hey, let's do it, but we haven't actually asked the questions on how we're gonna pay for it.
So
Sorry,
what,
Ben.
so what are you suggesting?
So I'm suggesting we reverse the order, we table this one, open
Well,
Don's
let's,
report.
why
and
don't we
all
just
this-
move the other one forward as opposed to tabling?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so we can move, just looking for the number here. Did I miss it on the first page? Oh, sorry, TR 2618, Donna Condon. Would somebody like to make a motion to bring that forward? Counselor Beach, seconded by Counselor Hyatt. All those in favor? Carried. Good. Comments on Donna's report? I think there's another recommendation to be added to that as well. Counselor Bryan.
I have that recommendation right now. Do you want me to read it now?
Sure, please.
Okay. This will be point number 8, from Donna. That council approve that the township seek additional funding for this project from each of the federal, provincial, and regional governments. As a result of the project costs being significantly higher than expected, if the township has to debenture $5.3 million, this will be a very large burden for the township and will result in other projects being delayed or deferred into future years. Furthermore, that the treasurer report back to council at a future date on the results of the township's discussions with the federal, provincial, and regional governments.
That'll be, an amendment to the report. Moved by Counselor Bryan, seconded by Counselor Ballinger. All those in favor of the amendment? Carried. So this is really, it's an interesting situation. We do have meetings set up with the federal government, the provincial government, and the region of Durham. All of them understand the situation, and we'll be going back at them with some more requests. There have been some changes to the project. Something like, for example, one of them alone is the I can't remember how you refer to it as water dewatering. They refer to it as that. Came in at about $1.4 million. So we have a few things we have to deal with. We originally had 4 partners in this, and the project that was based on 2012 numbers when we got the grants from the federal provincial government. So now we're going back and we're asking them to beef it up a little bit more. Other questions? Councillor Hyatt.
Actually, I have a few. My first ones will be to Donna. Just on the region and their debenturing rates and terms, why would they not go beyond a 20-year amortization period on this?
Sorry, give me one sec, Gord. Sorry, can you hang on one sec? Sorry, we need to move this report. I thought we'd already asked for it to go on the floor. It was moved and seconded. No? Okay. Oh, we did the amendment. I'm sorry. Could we have somebody just move this and get it on the floor first? Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Bryan. Sorry, now it's on the floor.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry, Councillor Hyatt.
Could you just explain why they wouldn't go for a 25-year or beyond amortization on this? Because it's a long-term use or life of the project. So.
Yes, okay, so occasionally the region has said that they are able to debenture for 25 years, but again, it has to do with what the market will bear. So if no one's interested in issuing for 25 years out in the market, then it's not available to purchase.
The reason I ask is because obviously the overall financing charges would be less, I would assume, based carrying it over a longer term, which again will reflect on the tax levy when we need to pay this back. So that's one of my concerns. The other one, I guess, is through you to Ben.
Want to answer that, please, first, Gord?
Oh, sure.
Who wants to answer that?
Sorry, Gord, if you actually look at the report, the longer the debenture term is, the higher amount, like the debenture payment will be lower.
Your
but
total financing cost would be higher, but it's spread out over a longer period of time.
Yeah, and
right?
you can see in the report, even when you look at the 15-year term versus the 20-year term.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, when we do this, we try not to go too long, because although the payment will be lower, the township will end up paying a lot more in financing charges.
So really, it's not the life of the asset, it's the attractivity, I guess, of putting the debenture out. Is that what you're saying?
It's really the affordability.
Affordability, yeah, okay. My next question through you to Ben is, I guess overall, I mean, we're talking about how to finance this. I guess my concern is, you know, when you have a 5.3 million, and I'm assuming, Ben, that's a worst case scenario on this. We just, I'm just concerned, without a shovel being in the ground, that we're already substantially higher than we initially projected. So, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. And I know there are numbers that fluctuate as you know, values of assets that we're selling and so on. Do you want to comment on that worst case scenario, Ben? Is there hope that we'll be substantially under that, or what are the factors involved there?
There is a substantial contingency fee in Donna's numbers as well, so.
And what would that cover, sort of thing?
Overruns on any of the items in the contract. But unless something shows up unexpectedly, there shouldn't be any major overruns.
So that 5.3 could be substantially lower than you're projecting here.
I'm not projecting anything.
Okay.
Just to be clear, what was the contingency, Donna?
Hoping, yes.
What was the contingency, roughly?
I believe it was roughly about 15%.
Right.
And, sorry, Gord, further to, your question, is at this time with the information that we know, we hope that the 5.3 million is a worst-case scenario. But that's based on the information that we have right now.
Councillor Barton?
Yeah, so a couple things. We've anticipated this costing $10 million for a long time. That's how we've been budgeting for it. And we're looking at an additional $7.6 million. When did we realize we were gonna be this much over our estimations?
I don't think that's quite accurate, but go ahead, Donna.
Ben, you
Can I
Yeah,
just
Ben, go
add that the $10 million was construction costs. It didn't include land, easements, any of that type of thing.
Okay,
Because the federal government and the province won't pay for that kind of thing.
okay.
Building only.
Just to follow up
ahead.
then, we're approximately, we're just over 1.2, I think, for engineering costs. Is that typically, was that anticipated as part of the 10 million?
There was some engineering, yes, but I'm not sure of the numbers. I can get back to you on that.
Okay, again, it's just, this is more money than we've ever spent as a municipality.
Absolutely.
I think it's worthy of some discussion, especially when, you know, the numbers that we've always talked about, you know, this is significantly higher. And then, I just did a little bit of math earlier, and just, if we calculate a 2.5% inflation rate, there's 1.6 that we didn't really account for. So the 12.3 plus the additional HST isn't a big surprise. That's about exactly where we anticipated being. And that's a question directly to Ben. The 12.3 is actually pretty good, isn't it, Ben? From a construction standpoint?
It's a reasonable cost for the size of the job, yes.
And is that
Which would sort of, you get that indication because the two low bidders were so close in value.
Right.
That would indicate that that's where the price should be.
Now, did we anticipate that price? Is that approximately where we thought we would be?
We knew it would be, as the design progressed and unfolded, especially since we passed the budget, there was a bit of a concern that it would be a little bit over budget, yes.
Other questions? Councillor Ballinger.
Just, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment. My comment is, when you get $8 million from 3 different levels of government, you gotta use it. I mean, you gotta get the shovel in the ground. It's been a long time, and with $8 million coming, and maybe more when you have your meetings. But the shovel has to go in the ground. The only concern that I would have about when you get into the ventures is in the near future, you're gonna have to put a swimming pool in, and it's gonna go in the fields of Uxbridge, and just keep your eye for any kind of grants that are out there.
We're working on them. Any other questions? All right, what'd you like to do with this recommendation as amended? Councillor Bryan?
Just kind of to follow up on what Councillor Ballinger had said, Don and I had a conversation this morning about this, and, you know, we want to put the pool in, we have to get the culvert in. And it comes back to, you know, you need to get your driveway done, but all of a sudden your roof starts leaking. Well, that money that was set for the driveway now goes to the roof. So you want to get both of them done, but you have to do the one, and you want to do this one first, as Councillor Ballinger said, because we have that money. We have a timeline, and we certainly have to move forward with that. I have a lot of faith that the governments, the 3 levels, will step back up again, because they understand the importance of this. It's a safety concern for our residents, and they are elected, as we are, to protect the residents. So I have a lot of faith in that, and I am fine with this.
Great. Counselor Barton?
Yeah, on the development charges, my question is, we're gonna be moving a lot of these funds over to this culvert project. Does that pull those, so it's a question to Donna, does that pull those development charges away from the Parks Department, where we often were directing a lot of our funds for things like the pool and the fields of Uxbridge? And what does that do to projects moving forward?
Okay, so, when we look at development charges, we have to allocate them to each of their pots. So Recreation has their own pot of DCs, Ben's engineering department has their own engineering DCs.
Yep.
So Ben can only use engineering DCs for this. So he's not touching the DCs that are set aside for the pool.
But moving forward is actually what, so moving forward, are we directing the majority of our DCs to paying down this debt moving forward?
No, so going forward, it will only be the engineering DCs. The portion of DCs that relate to engineering can only be used on this project. But what will happen in the future is, you know, Ben always has a number of engineering DC projects that he's working on and that are in the DC study, so it may defer or delay a few of those projects.
But only from a public works and engineering standpoint. Our current Parks and Recreation DCs will remain the same, and we will continue to fill those departments with additional resources for the
Yep.
future.
So we have DC funds that they go into little buckets, so we have a bucket for fire, we have a bucket for animal control, we have a bucket for recreation. Ben can't touch those DCs, he can only use his engineering DCs.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Good question. All right, great. So would somebody like to move this, do we have this, a mover and a second for this recommendation?
Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Bryan.
Great, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Donna, that was a great report. I know you put a lot of work into it. Thank you very much. Let's go back now to PWO 5718 of Ben Kester, regarding this is tender U1808, the Brock Street Culvert tender. Any questions? Councillor Bryan.
No, in light of what we've just spoken about, and it was a good call on Councillor Barton's part to talk about the pricing, I would like to move this recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Beach. Do you have a question, Councillor Hyatt? Go ahead.
Through you to Ben, I think you asked this question, Councillor Beach. Brennan Paving, have they done, work of this magnitude, Ben, that you're aware of?
That's
'Cause
Miller.
this is a big,
It's Miller.
Well, it's Brennan Paving, but Miller
they're
Paving
a
owns
subsidiary,
Brennan.
so they've handled jobs
Yeah.
of this size.
In
We just don't wanna get into this and find out
In the
they're overwhelmed.
projects up to like 250 million, 500
They
million.
have, okay. That answers my question, thank you.
Great, so it's moved and seconded duly. Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Ben. It's been a long time coming. Let's get rolling. This is report PWO 5918 of Ben Kester regarding tender U1816 sidewalk replacement and repair. Councillor Burton.
Yeah, I'll move those recommendations. It'll be great to see the sidewalk go further north towards the fields of Uxbridge.
Absolutely. Councillor Beach, second that. Are there any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. Great. This is report number TR 2718 of Donna Condon regarding the solar panel system update. I think this is pretty straightforward. We know that the current provincial government has cut that program, so Councillor Bryan. Move the recommendation. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Barton. Any other questions? All's in favor? Carried. This is report RC 1218 of Amanda Ferraro. This is regarding the quote Q1816 regarding the Maple Bridge Trail. What would you like to do with this, Council? Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I'll move the recommendation.
Move the recommendation, seconded by Councillor Ballinger. Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Amanda. Great report. And this is report RC 1318 of Amanda Ferraro regarding the wayfinding sign installation. Councillor Hyatt, want to move the recommendation?
I will move the recommendation.
Seconded by Councillor Beach. Are there any questions, Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I just, one of my questions is, how quickly, I may have missed it in the report, how quickly are the wayfinding signs gonna be installed directing the mountain bikers and hikers from Durham Forest into the downtown? Is that happening quickly?
Amanda, you want to come forward? Great. I was looking for a new pen. I didn't see you sneak up.
So the the signs are, have already been fabricated, so now they'll need to work with the region to get approvals for all the spots that they're gonna be installing it. So, my hope was that we'd be late August, but I haven't got an actual updated date yet, but we are hoping to have it before the frost goes in the ground.
Thank you very much.
Great. We have a mover and a seconder for this? Already, Debbie? Yes. We do, great. Any other questions? All's in favor? Carried. Great, thanks, Amanda. All right, we go to bylaws. First bylaw is, who's got those anyway? Fred does? Great. Go ahead, Fred.
First and second reading, moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Barton, that leave be granted to introduce bylaws number 2018-122 to 2018-124, and the same be read a first and second time.
All those in favor? Carried. Leave be granted to third reading.
Third reading, moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Barton, that bylaws number 2018-122 to 2018-124 be now read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal same.
All those in favor? Carried. Is there any unfinished business? Any other business? I will go to the press for questions. No questions today? Moya?
Roger, don't disappoint me.
Sorry, just wondering on the ball diamonds. So I know in the agreement, the school board will keep them open as diamonds until the new one is built.
Yeah.
Is there any idea past that? Will it remain a park, or after that, it just depends what they want to do with it?
I think likely it'll go on. They're not planning anything at this point in time. They've only kept the property because they want to keep it for the future, so I suspect we'll keep this arrangement going for many years, until they need it. And I don't think they have anything in plans to specifically use that property yet, so. And keep in mind, we're the ones maintaining it, so.
Right. Okay, past, but will the maintenance
So far
end
it
once
said-
you have the new diamond? Or,
We don't have an agreement to that effect, but
Okay.
that's something we'll work on as we get the new diamond built.
okay, thank you.
I think it goes to 2020 now, is the current agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the press? No? Anybody in the audience? Michelle? To the microphone, please, Michelle, if you don't mind. Just hit that little button, will you?
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Not used to it yet.
There you go.
Sorry. So my question is to you, Mayor Malloy, or actually to Councillor Hyatt through Mayor Malloy, and I had a question to find out how Councillor Hyatt would be able to solicit those phone calls from the residents of Low, Maunder, and Harima, seeing as they didn't know that there was a special council meeting today, to solicit those phone calls that you were expecting to register their opposition to what you called a so-called petition.
I'm
Do you
not
wanna
sure.
answer
Could
that,
you
Clerk?
repeat that question? I'm not clear on what it is you're asking.
I'm asking if you went door to door on Maunder, Low, and Harima to let people know of the special council meeting where the report, I'm sorry, I don't have the number in front of me, was being presented today with regards to the land exchange.
No, I didn't, but I understand this is from you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're out soliciting, or
No, I'm out
you're
advising.
out campaigning, and yet going to residents and giving them false information. So
It's not false information, it's a
Well,
report.
Okay, it's not a debate. If you have a question, Michelle.
Yeah, my question
that
was
your
whether
answer
he
was?
went door to door, and the answer
I
is
think it was
And the answer is
explained
no.
that it's not through the planning process. I have not received a call from any of the people on this list. Okay? Does that answer your question?
yes.
I think if I can just clarify, I
Yeah.
think what the council is referring to is that in the planning process, he asks anyone that was in that process to respond to him within a certain number of days, and what he suggested was he did not get any of these people responding at that time. I think that's what he's referring to.
And may I
Go ahead.
clarify? May I?
Go ahead.
This is a comment for clarification. So, in the Oxbridge Times Journal on July 19th, there is an ad on the township page indicating that the next council meeting would be on August the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So, I simply went door to door with a report that I thought would be interesting to people in Barton Farms. I am also a resident of Barton Farms. And I thought that they would be interested to know that there was a council meeting that was going to be considering the exchange of land and declaring that the land surplus. So that's the
fine.
reason I went door to door, was to simply advise people, and people were not aware that there was a meeting,
That's fine.
nor that those items were up for discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the residents? Press again?
I was contemplating.
Or meditating.
You referred at the beginning of the meeting to a petition that is not included in the agenda. Will the media be allowed to have
Certainly.
a copy of that petition?
Yeah. At the beginning of the meeting, we received it here. So, yeah, you can have a copy of it, of course.
Thank you.
Have to what? Yeah, Debbie has to go through and take personal information off it first, and then we'll give it to you. When can you do that, Debbie? Do you have any idea? By tomorrow. Okay? Any other questions? No other question? We'll be going into camera for a few items right now. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Oh, okay. Can I have a motion to arise out of the in-camera session? All those in favor? Carried. Alrighty, this is report PWO 6018 of Ben Kester regarding a easement purchase on 23 Brock Street. Somebody like to move that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Barton. All those in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Bylaw, the confirming bylaw.
Confirming bylaw, first and second reading, moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Barton, that leave be granted to introduce bylaw number 2018-125, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at special meeting of July 23rd, 2018, and the same be read a first and second time.
All those in favor? Carried. Leave be granted. Third reading.
Third reading, moved by Councillor Bryan, seconded by Councillor Barton, that bylaw number 2018-125 be now read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal same.
All those in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Done. Make it up.